Imagine this. You're scrolling through the latest space updates, mostly the usual. Asteroid flybys, new exoplanet finds, maybe a solar flare alert. But then, buried in a quiet astronomy forum, a headline grabs your attention. Unexplained artificial-like shadows detected near Neptune. Wait, what? Artificial? Near Neptune? At first, it sounds like clickbait. But then you realize it's referencing real telescope data. Something massive, bigger than any known moon, is casting irregular shadows across Neptune's atmosphere, and it's not acting like any natural object we've ever observed. It's not orbiting like a satellite, not behaving like a passing comet, and certainly doesn't fit the profile of debris or storm clouds. Scientists have ruled out the obvious. And now, a growing number of researchers are asking a question that feels straight out of a science fiction novel. Could it be a structure? Something built? Why would anything artificial be out there, orbiting the coldest, windiest, most forgotten planet in the solar system? Unless, just maybe, it was put there on purpose. And if it was, who put it there? And why? This is where our journey begins. Right on the edge of science, mystery, and the unthinkable. Neptune. Cold. Distant. Blue. Most people don't think twice about it. Sitting almost 4.5 billion kilometers away from Earth, it's the 8th and farthest known planet in our solar system. We've sent just one spacecraft past it, Voyager 2, back in 1989. And since then, it's been left to the telescopes. It's not a place we talk about often. Not like Mars with its rovers or Jupiter with its massive storms. But recently, that changed. Quietly, subtly, and completely unexpectedly. It started with a series of images, harmless at first glance. Just Neptune doing what it's always done. Rotating slowly, swirling with clouds, and being a gigantic frozen ball of hydrogen and helium. But as astronomers processed more data, strange things began to appear. Shadows. Large, shifting shadows in the upper atmosphere. They didn't match known moon orbits. They weren't storms. They moved in a pattern that didn't make sense. Like something was in orbit, but not acting like a natural object. That's when the question started. What was causing these anomalies? Were they errors? Glitches? Misreadings? The scientific method kicked in. Double-check the equipment, rerun the data, consult other observatories. But the more eyes turned to Neptune, the more confusing things got. A radio telescope in Chile picked up a strange, pulsing signal. Short, steady, and then gone. It wasn't a flare. It wasn't a pulsar. It didn't repeat. Just one strange ping, right from the region of Neptune's orbit. Then, another observatory detected an energy fluctuation. Not a big one, but enough to be noticed. Not enough to alarm the world, but enough to make scientists whisper behind closed doors. That's when the theory dropped. Could this be something artificial? Not aliens exactly. Not little green men or shiny spaceships, but something engineered, something constructed. A structure. Maybe a platform. Maybe a station. Maybe something we don't even have a word for. At first, the idea was laughed off, like most alien-related stories tend to be. But then the math didn't add up. The shadows were too large. The objects weren't moving randomly. They were in a stable orbit. Too stable. Like they were meant to be there. Designed. And that's when a small group of researchers started piecing things together. What if we've been looking in the wrong direction this whole time? What if the signs were always at the edges of our system, not the center? Mars has been our obsession. But Neptune? It's quiet, hidden, dark, perfect in a way, for something that doesn't want to be found. And think about this. Neptune is rich in hydrogen and helium. If you were a spacefaring civilization that needed fuel or energy, wouldn't you build something there? Tap into its resources quietly, out of sight from the inner planets? Maybe even monitor the solar system from afar? The planet's massive magnetic field could also be useful. Power generation, cloaking, or even data transmission. And the temperature, while extreme to us, wouldn't matter to an advanced species with technology far beyond ours. Now, the more we stare at the data, the harder it gets to explain things away. These aren't simple anomalies, they're repeating in cycles. Some scientists have started to compare them to patterns found in orbital tethers or artificial satellites. And while no one wants to say the A word, alien, out loud, it's hovering in the air. You can feel it in how carefully they speak. Words like unknown structure, potential artificial origin, and unexplained behavior are sprinkled throughout reports and internal memos. And still, the public remains largely unaware. It hasn't hit mainstream headlines. Not yet. Maybe because the evidence isn't rock solid. Or maybe because no one wants to start a fire they can't put out. But here's the thing. Science doesn't wait for comfort. It moves when the data demands it. And right now, that data is weird. There's an object, or several, that don't belong near Neptune. They don't follow any known patterns. They show up on different instruments from different countries. They cast shadows, reflect light strangely, and in some cases, even seem to emit a faint, deliberate signal. Could they be natural? Sure. Maybe. We've been wrong before. But what if they're not? What if this is the first breadcrumb? The first crack in the silence that's lasted for centuries? Remember, we used to think Earth was the center of the universe. We used to think flying was impossible. We used to think the moon was unreachable. So maybe, just maybe, there's something out there near Neptune that changes everything. And it starts with a simple question that feels impossible to answer. Have giant alien structures been found on Neptune? Out near the edge of our solar system, where sunlight barely reaches and time feels like it stretches forever, a quiet mystery began to unfold. One that would leave scientists, amateur astronomers, and even seasoned exo-observers scratching their heads in disbelief. It started with a dimming, a slow, rhythmic shadow crawling across Neptune's upper cloud bands. At first, most of the experts assumed it was an artifact in the data, some fluke of calibration, or maybe just static interference from the telescope system. But when 3 different observatories, one ground-based, 2 orbiting, reported the exact same phenomenon on separate nights, things began to shift from confusion to genuine concern. The dimming didn't match the movement of any known moon or passing object. There was no comet, no asteroid, no ice debris drifting along Neptune's path that could be causing such a clean, repeating pattern. It pulsed, slow and deliberate, like the beat of a living heart. And that rhythm was weird in itself. Nature is messy, irregular. This was too perfect, and just when they thought it couldn't get stranger, it did. A low-frequency radio signal began coming from the same area. Not noise, not random bursts like you might get from solar activity, but a slow, deliberate stream of pulses, regular, echoing across the deep, black silence, bouncing off Neptune's magnetic field in a way that reminded some researchers of radar systems. One junior technician at the Chilean Deep Sky Array noted that it almost seemed like a reply, triggered each time their instruments pinged the area with active scans. And the signal was strong, not fading, not decaying, holding steady across hours and days. The pulse resembled something mechanical. When compared to cataloged planetary emissions or even background bursts from Jupiter's atmosphere, it stood alone. It didn't match anything. And that's when Dr. Ilana Brecht, a systems astrophysicist with the UN's Outer Observation Task Group, said what everyone else had been too nervous to say out loud. We've never seen anything behave like this around Neptune. It's like something's parked there. The statement was met with a long silence, as though no one wanted to be the first to say what they were all thinking. Satellites from the Martian Relay Cluster were redirected for passive observation, hoping to triangulate whatever this thing was, if it even existed. But nothing appeared visibly unusual. No clear shape, no metallic signature, not even an infrared spike to suggest propulsion or a heat-emitting engine. Yet the pulses continued. They were mapped over the course of a week, and analysts noticed they were subtly shifting in strength and interval, patterned, as though adjusting in real time. At one point, it even mimicked the signature of Neptune's own magnetic swirl, like it was copying or learning. Deep within a control room in Geneva, a linguistic AI system was repurposed to look for language elements in the signal: repetition, structure, symmetry. It found all three. Not enough to be sure of intent, but enough to say that the signal wasn't random. Meanwhile, the dimming on Neptune grew stronger. The shadow widened, and its rhythm began to accelerate. The shape of it, while still vague, appeared to pulse across the equatorial region before fading toward the upper latitudes. One old astronomer remarked that it reminded him of something hovering in orbit, like a lens turning or a curtain briefly drawn across the face of the planet. Despite their best efforts, no one could find a source. Space is huge, but the area around Neptune isn't crowded. If there's something there, stationary, silent, and synchronized with a rhythm not found in nature, then it means one of two things. Either we are witnessing a rare, unknown process of nature that has gone entirely unnoticed until now, or something, has arrived, and it doesn't want to be found just yet. And that idea, the second one, sat in the minds of every expert like a quiet question they were afraid to answer. What if something is observing us from Neptune's orbit? Something old, something quiet, and something far more patient than we can understand. At first, the scientific community took the same road it always does, carefully and with caution. As soon as the strange dimming from Neptune's orbit was observed, a series of meetings kicked off around the globe. Teams from radio observatories, planetary science institutes, and even Mars-based relay stations began analyzing every available dataset. Their first theory was one of the most familiar: dust. In the outer solar system, you get plenty of it. Trails left behind by dying comets, debris stirred by solar winds, and fine particles that drift through space like slow snow. But dust doesn't behave this way. When the numbers came in, the density just didn't match. You'd need a cloud thick enough to block light for several minutes at a time, but not so thick that it becomes visible from multiple angles. It had to move with precision, fade in and out with a tight pulse, and repeat itself in a pattern almost like breathing. Cosmic dust doesn't do that. Then came the idea that it might be a leftover comet or a series of asteroid trails, something from the Kuiper Belt maybe, with a path just close enough to line up with the dimming. But no orbit tracked across Neptune's position matched up. Nothing had the right timing. The shapes weren't consistent. And besides, these objects move fast and rough. They don't repeat themselves in clean rhythms. The dimming wasn't random. It was measured. The team from the European Observation Network brought in trajectory models dating back over 200 years, tracing icy bodies and forgotten fragments through this region of space. They found nothing. The next theory involved electromagnetic interference. Maybe it was a rare magnetic storm, something tied to Neptune's unusual field. After all, Neptune's magnetosphere is tilted, it wobbles like a top, and it's known to create radio interference on its own. So they checked that too. Over 30 days of waveform data from Neptune's upper atmosphere were poured over, looking for a link between the planet's own field shifts and the rhythmic dimming. But the signal came from outside the atmosphere. Worse, the magnetic spikes on Neptune didn't match the timing of the pulses at all. Not even close. Every single natural cause they tested, light diffraction from icy rings, gravity lensing from unseen moons, solar flare reflections, fell apart under scrutiny. None of it could explain the regularity, the slow precision of the signal, or the persistent shadow that moved as though it was guided by something intelligent. And it was right around that point, after exhausting every chart and simulation, that the unspoken thought finally became a whisper in the room. What if this isn't natural? What if this is something made, not formed? It's a heavy shift. Scientists don't go there lightly. For decades, caution has been the rule. Extraordinary claims need more than just interesting data. But this was starting to push the edge. The radio pulses were clean, structured like a loop or a code. The dimming had form, changing but stable, like an outline seen through fog. One scientist from the Lunar Signal Lab pointed out that if this were a device, just hypothetically, it would have to be huge, possibly miles across, capable of holding position in orbit while emitting a directed signal strong enough to reach beyond the Kuiper belt. That kind of stability would suggest deliberate placement, maybe even station keeping. And that's the moment when the question began showing up in internal notes, not just in passing remarks, but in actual filed memos and peer correspondence. Could it be artificial? Not proven, not declared. Just asked. Quietly, carefully, like someone stepping into cold water, not sure what lies beneath. The idea wasn't thrown out this time. It was placed aside. Not dismissed, but shelved, waiting for more. Not because they wanted to believe it, but because every other door had been checked and locked. And what's more interesting is how that question spread. People who normally avoid speculation, engineers, archivists, people who run hardware or keep the logs, started leaving comments, attaching timestamps to signal data with remarks like possible structure or repeat signature, identical to previous week. It wasn't just curiosity now. It was building into something else. Maybe not fear, but something close, unease. Because when all your models say no, and the evidence keeps pointing in one direction, you either keep denying it or start looking closer. And in this case, people started looking. Not just professionals either. Amateur skywatchers picked up the signal using backyard receivers, coordinated on dark web astronomy forums, and even cross-checked signal intervals in shared spreadsheets. One even used AI to match the pulse sequence to ancient mathematical patterns, just for fun, and found matches that lined up with prime numbers. Coincidence? Maybe, or maybe not. But the more they dug, the stranger it became. No visible object. No known material. A signal that keeps changing slightly, like it's adjusting or responding. A shadow that moves, but not with the spin of the planet. Not with wind. Not with gravity. It just floats. Calm, patient, deliberate. Like it's waiting. And somewhere between those fading pulses and that slow orbit above Neptune's clouds, the old frameworks began to crack. The explanations we've always trusted, physics, gravity, light, weren't enough. That doesn't mean they're wrong. It just means that maybe, just maybe, there's something we haven't met yet. Something thinking. Something quiet. And if that's the case, then the question isn't could it be artificial anymore. The real question is, what is it doing there? The idea that someone or something could build an enormous structure in space sounds like something pulled from the wildest corners of science fiction. And maybe that's where it started. But over the past century, those what-if ideas have crept closer to possibility, and today, they sit in the middle of scientific debate. Think about this. In the 1800s, Jules Verne wrote about machines that moved underwater like sea creatures, long before submarines were real. Back then, it sounded like fantasy. Today, we take underwater vessels for granted. Now shift that same thinking toward space. There's this concept known as a Dyson swarm. Not a solid ball, not a shell, but a massive cloud of orbiting satellites built to capture energy from a star. They'd move like bees around a hive, always soaking up light and converting it into power. Engineers have already started running simulations to see if that could work one day. Not for a star maybe, but even around a planet. Then there's the orbital ring idea. Imagine a thin ring that encircles a planet, floating with help from magnetic fields or constant thrust, holding cities or stations in permanent low orbit. It sounds impossible until you look at the numbers and realize the math actually holds up. given enough material, time, and reason. Advanced civilizations, ones thousands or even millions of years ahead of us, might already be capable of such feats, and if they wanted to keep their structures hidden, what better place than the shadows of a gas giant like Neptune? That brings us to Tabby's star, a real astronomical object that dims in strange, non-repeating patterns. It triggered huge discussions about the possibility of an artificial structure orbiting it, something like a partial Dyson swarm blocking the star's light. No one's confirmed anything, but the fact that it's even on the table? That says a lot. So now think back to Neptune. The quiet pulses, the consistent dimming, the way it doesn't match any natural orbit or material. What if what we're seeing is the same kind of thing, but scaled down? Instead of orbiting a star, it circles a planet. Maybe not for energy harvesting, maybe for observation, storage, travel, or something we can't guess at yet. These ideas sound huge and strange, but remember, so did flying machines once. If science fiction keeps predicting what's possible, maybe what we're picking up around Neptune isn't fantasy anymore. Maybe we're just catching the edge of someone else's design. Neptune, the 8th planet from the Sun, remains one of the most mysterious and enigmatic bodies in our solar system. Its position, far from the Sun, has made it a perfect place for those looking to stay out of sight. With its vast, remote location, it's a haven that has witnessed far less traffic from human probes and spacecraft compared to planets like Mars or Jupiter. This relative isolation means that Neptune's secrets have remained largely undisturbed, and for anyone looking to hide, be it a spacecraft, an advanced civilization, or even an alien entity, this cold, distant world offers the perfect environment. Its composition, rich in hydrogen and helium, makes it an ideal location for harvesting the very resources that power advanced ships and technologies. The presence of these elements, coupled with Neptune's massive magnetic field, provides incredible potential for harnessing energy, whether to power machines, create defensive shields, or even cloak an entire vessel from prying eyes. The magnetic field itself, one of the strongest in the solar system, could be key to manipulating technology in ways humans have only begun to imagine. Additionally, Neptune's position, bathed in the dim light of a distant sun, creates a visual challenge for anyone trying to observe the planet from afar. The lack of sunlight means less visibility, providing an almost perfect cover for anyone trying to remain undetected. With fewer probes and less interest from Earth space agencies, Neptune presents a quiet, shadowed hideaway, one that holds vast potential for those who seek it. If someone or something wanted to hide from the gaze of a watchful galaxy, there are few better places than Neptune, a world that's as remote as it is promising, with its combination of natural resources, magnetic prowess, and obscured location, making it the ideal hiding place in the vastness of space. In 2024, a peculiar and mysterious radio ping was detected emanating from Neptune's orbit, sending shockwaves through the scientific community and sparking widespread intrigue across the globe. The signal, unlike anything previously recorded, was unlike any natural frequency typically found in space, and its distinct, consistent pattern suggested something far more deliberate, like a coded message. This wasn't the random static or background noise often encountered in space, which can easily be dismissed as natural interference or cosmic radiation. No, this was far too organized, too structured, to be brushed off as mere chance. The ping itself was brief, a singular event that resonated once and then fell silent, never to repeat again. Despite the lack of a follow-up signal, scientists were left to wonder, was this a one-off anomaly, or was it an intentional message? Some experts argued that the precision and rhythm of the signal hinted at intelligence, possibly from an alien source, while others speculated that it could be a previously unknown natural phenomenon yet to be understood. The nature of the ping, the unlikeliness of its origin, and the fact that it appeared in such a remote location, far from Earth's typical observational focus, only deepened the mystery. The possibility that the signal came from an advanced extraterrestrial civilization, or from some secret project being tested far from prying eyes, ignited public and scientific interest alike. The implications of such a discovery, even if the ping was never repeated, were profound. It raised the question of whether humanity had finally stumbled upon the first real proof of intelligent life beyond our planet, or if we were simply the victims of a strange and unexplained cosmic event. Either way, the ping heard round the world marked a pivotal moment in our quest to understand the vast, unexplored reaches of space, leaving us all to wonder. Who or what could be out there, sending signals from the distant shadows of Neptune's orbit? The signal itself was brief, occurring only once and never repeating. This anomaly in itself raised several questions. Why did it come only once? And why didn't it repeat? Was this an intentional transmission or a random fluke? Scientists noted that the frequency was simply too structured, too patterned to be the result of natural forces. It was as though someone, or something, was trying to communicate in a deliberate manner, sending out a message wrapped in complex frequency modulation. The eerie silence that followed the signal only amplified the mystery, leaving astronomers and experts grasping at theories and explanations. A leading theory that gained traction was the possibility that the signal originated from an extraterrestrial source. The consistent nature of the ping seemed to point to an intelligence far beyond what was naturally known. After all, Neptune, being so distant from the Sun, was a location rarely studied in great detail due to its remote and harsh environment. That fact alone made it an ideal location for something, or someone, wishing to hide their presence from prying eyes. But the key factor was the nature of the signal itself. The organized pattern indicated the potential for an intelligent source capable of sending deliberate communications across the vast expanse of space. But what was the source of this transmission? Was it the first clear evidence of alien life, possibly trying to make contact with Earth? Some speculated that it could be a message from an advanced civilization or probe, one that had been sending signals across the cosmos for eons, waiting for the right time to make contact with humanity. Others entertained the idea that this signal could have been a test or a probe by some undiscovered natural phenomenon, a signal never before detected in the frequencies we have been looking for. Another theory that emerged was the possibility that the ping wasn't of extraterrestrial origin at all, but rather something created by human technology. Some suggested that it could have been a secret experiment, a test signal from an unknown probe or satellite that was purposefully directed at Neptune. With the ever-growing interest in space exploration, especially in distant, unexplored regions, the possibility of secret military or corporate projects could not be ruled out. These ideas were fueled by the fact that Neptune's orbit is far from Earth's usual observational reach, making it the perfect location to test new technology without detection. The sudden appearance of this singular and unexplained event forced the scientific community to reconsider the potential for communication across the universe. Was this just a random glitch in the system, or were we on the cusp of a historic discovery? The vast distance of Neptune from Earth made it a virtually uncharted space for most human probes. The planet itself, with its thick atmosphere and violent storms, is an inhospitable place for conventional exploration, but it is also rich in potential for any civilization looking to hide or test technologies out of reach. Scientists were quick to point out that even if the signal came from an intelligent source, it might not be a message meant specifically for Earth. The universe is vast, and the odds of finding another intelligent civilization capable of such communication are astronomically small. Yet, even if it were not directed at humanity, the mere existence of such a signal represented a breakthrough, a potential clue to understanding whether we are alone in the universe or if there is, in fact, something or someone else out there in the dark reaches of space. This mysterious ping from Neptune has since become the subject of intense debate. Some have called it the greatest scientific mystery of the century, while others remain skeptical, claiming that it may have been a product of human error or an undiscovered natural event. Regardless of the final explanation, the impact of this discovery remains profound. It has reinvigorated the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, prompted new questions about the limits of human technology, and raised the tantalizing possibility that somewhere out there in the vast, dark expanse of space, there might be a civilization, or even a message, waiting to be discovered. In the end, the ping heard round the world may not have answered all of humanity's questions, but it has undoubtedly left us with more. It opened a door to the infinite unknown, urging us to explore deeper into space, to listen more closely for signs of intelligence, and to continue searching for the elusive answers to one of humanity's oldest and most profound questions. Are we truly alone in the universe? In the wake of the mysterious radio signal detected from Neptune's orbit in 2024, the scientific community found itself divided over the significance of the ping. As with many great mysteries in science, the debate quickly grew into a larger discourse on the nature of anomalies in the field of astronomy and the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, SETI. Some scientists were quick to dismiss the signal as mere magnetic interference, a product of the chaotic space environment surrounding Neptune. This viewpoint was based on a conservative interpretation of space phenomena, where anomalies were often explained away as natural occurrences or technical errors. According to this perspective, the signal was likely just another fluke, a random pulse that, while intriguing, did not warrant further investigation. For many of these scientists, the search for ET signals should be grounded in rigorous, repeatable observations rather than speculative interpretations based on a single, isolated event. On the other hand, a vocal group of researchers took a more open-minded approach, urging their colleagues not to dismiss the signal too hastily. Their argument was rooted in the history of scientific discovery, where many breakthroughs had initially been met with skepticism, only to be later confirmed as groundbreaking. These scientists warned against the dangers of close-mindedness, reminding their peers that the scientific community had often dismissed potential discoveries as anomalies or noise, only to later recognize them as significant. If we dismiss every anomaly as interference, one prominent astrophysicist argued, we may miss the signal we've been waiting for. This statement resonated deeply within the SETI community, where the search for extraterrestrial intelligence had long been a delicate balance of skepticism and hope. The idea that a signal could be dismissed out of hand simply because it was unconventional struck many as a dangerous approach, one that could lead to missed opportunities and, perhaps, an opportunity to discover something monumental. The debate soon escalated, with proponents of the alien signal theory pushing for more resources to be allocated to the investigation of the mysterious ping. They pointed out that the signal's regular, rhythmic pattern was unlike typical cosmic noise, which is often chaotic and random. The idea of it being an intentionally structured signal made the possibility of extraterrestrial origin seem more plausible. Moreover, the fact that the signal had been detected from Neptune's orbit, a region largely unexplored by human probes and one that lies at the very edge of our solar system, further fueled speculation that the signal might indeed be a message from an advanced alien civilization. To ignore the signal, they argued, was to potentially miss an unprecedented opportunity to answer one of humanity's oldest questions. Are we alone in the universe? Meanwhile, the skeptics were not easily swayed. Many pointed to the possibility that the signal could have been the result of natural phenomena, such as magnetic interference or interference from distant cosmic sources, like quasars or pulsars. They argued that space is full of strange and often unpredictable electromagnetic activity, much of which had yet to be fully understood. While it was true that the signal appeared structured, they maintained that it could still have a natural origin, perhaps some unknown form of space, weather, or cosmic event that was yet to be classified. To jump to conclusions about its potential as a message from extraterrestrials, they claimed, was premature and could undermine the credibility of serious scientific inquiry. However, as the controversy surrounding the signal continued to unfold, one thing was certain. The stakes were high. A new probe, slated to fly past Neptune in the 2030s, would have the opportunity to pass close enough to the planet to potentially gather more data and provide further clarity on the signal's origin. This upcoming mission, while still years away, became a focal point of the debate. Would it confirm the mystery? Would the new probe's instruments be able to detect similar signals, perhaps revealing a pattern or confirming that the 2024 ping was not a one-off anomaly? Or would it find nothing at all, once again confirming the skeptics' theory that the signal was simply an unexpected fluke, caused by something as mundane as magnetic interference? For those who believed in the possibility of extraterrestrial contact, the probe's upcoming flyby was seen as a potential turning point. The stakes couldn't have been higher, as the world's scientific community eagerly awaited any new data that might shed light on this enigmatic occurrence. The hope was that the new probe would provide enough data to either confirm the signal's source, possibly a transmission from an advanced alien civilization, or rule out more mundane explanations once and for all. The timing of this new probe became crucial. In the world of space exploration, timing is everything, and as each year passed, the mystery of the ping seemed to grow only more intense. While the skeptics remained confident in their belief that the signal would ultimately be debunked, the proponents of the alien theory pushed for continued funding and investigation. The fact that the signal had been detected once at all was enough to keep the debate alive, and many insisted that humanity's search for extraterrestrial intelligence had to be pursued with an open mind, not shut down prematurely. One of the most compelling aspects of this debate was the philosophical implications it carried. On one hand, there were those who believed that humanity's search for extraterrestrial life had already gone on too long without results. To them, the signal was yet another failed lead, a reminder that we are still alone in the vast universe. On the other hand, there were those who viewed the ping as a potential breakthrough, a sign that the universe is far more complex and mysterious than previously imagined. For these scientists, the signal represented a tantalizing glimpse into a larger, more profound reality, one in which humanity was not the only intelligent species in existence. As the debate raged on, it became clear that the scientific community was at a crossroads. Would the signal from Neptune be remembered as a mere footnote in the history of space exploration, a curiosity that never led to anything more? Or would it turn out to be the first tangible piece of evidence that extraterrestrial intelligence exists and is actively attempting to make contact with humanity? The answer, of course, remained uncertain, and it was likely that the mystery would continue to linger for many years to come. In the meantime, the countdown to the 2030s probe continued, and the anticipation surrounding it only grew with each passing day. For now, scientists on both sides of the debate could agree on one thing. Whatever the outcome, the ping from Neptune had sparked a renewed sense of wonder and excitement about the possibilities of life beyond Earth. It had reminded humanity that we are, in fact, just a tiny part of a much larger universe, one filled with mysteries waiting to be unraveled. Whether or not that ping turned out to be a message from aliens, it had opened a new chapter in our exploration of the cosmos, one that could change the course of human history forever. The question of whether we're truly on the verge of discovering alien life has become one of the most profound inquiries humanity has ever faced. With each new discovery, every strange anomaly, and every mysterious signal from the farthest reaches of space, we find ourselves confronted with a growing pile of weirdness that challenges our understanding of the universe. But as much as the curiosity of what these phenomena might mean excites us, there's one fundamental truth that remains. There's no proof, only possibilities. In the case of the enigmatic radio signal detected near Neptune, for example, the scientific community is at a crossroads of sorts. On one hand, some argue that this could be a breakthrough moment, a sign of extraterrestrial intelligence trying to reach out, perhaps deliberately sending a message from across the vast expanse of space. The consistent, rhythmic nature of the signal is far too structured to be mere cosmic noise, leading many to wonder whether this is the first true indication that we're not alone in the universe. Could this be the moment when humanity finally makes contact with an alien civilization? The potential implications are tantalizing, to say the least. If the signal could be traced back to an advanced alien species, it would be the most significant scientific discovery in human history. It would forever alter our perception of the universe and our place within it. After all, the question of whether we are alone in the cosmos has been a part of human curiosity and philosophy for millennia. But even as these possibilities loom large in the minds of those who hope for confirmation of extraterrestrial life, there is another, equally plausible explanation: human misunderstanding. This is, after all, a well-trodden path in the history of science. From the discovery of the canals on Mars, once thought to be evidence of an ancient alien civilization, to the countless UFO sightings that have turned out to be misidentified weather balloons or secret military tests, humanity has often misinterpreted what it has seen in the night sky. Could the signal from Neptune be another instance of such misinterpretation? After all, space is a vast and complex environment, full of phenomena that are still beyond our understanding. The very nature of electromagnetic waves, cosmic radiation, and interstellar disturbances can produce signals that might appear meaningful at first glance, but, upon closer examination, turn out to be natural occurrences. Could this ping simply be a case of overactive imagination, where the human brain, a pattern-seeking machine, sees a structure where there is none? This is certainly possible, and it highlights one of the most difficult challenges in the search for extraterrestrial life: discerning between what we want to be true and what is actually true. The tension between these two possibilities, alien communication or human error, forms the crux of the debate. On one hand, we have the hope that the universe is teeming with intelligent life, just waiting to be discovered. On the other, we have the sobering reality that the universe is vast, and the vast majority of signals and phenomena we encounter are simply the result of natural, albeit fascinating, processes. The truth, as it often is, likely lies somewhere in between. Perhaps the signal from Neptune is nothing more than an anomalous natural occurrence, but perhaps it's not. The possibility that it could be a message from extraterrestrials is an idea that stirs the imagination, but it remains just that, an idea, an open question. It's easy to be swept up in the excitement of discovery, especially when faced with the possibility of something as extraordinary as communication from alien civilizations. But it's also important to approach these mysteries with caution, acknowledging that in the vastness of space, the weirdness we encounter might just be an anomaly, a fleeting moment in the great cosmic dance, which ultimately leaves us with more questions than answers. Even in the face of ambiguity, however, there's one thing that's indisputable: it's worth watching. No matter the outcome, the search for answers to these mysteries is an integral part of our journey as a species. Whether the signal from Neptune turns out to be a mistake or an alien message, the quest to understand it is worth pursuing. If anything, the investigation into this signal forces us to confront the possibility of life beyond our planet, urging us to question the limits of human knowledge and expand our horizons. As we continue to explore the far reaches of space, each discovery, whether it leads to confirmation of alien life or not, teaches us something new about the universe and our place within it. Moreover, the growing pile of weirdness only reinforces our need to continue observing, studying, and questioning. From the discovery of strange radio pulses to the detection of possible megastructures in far-off star systems, we are constantly faced with new and unexplainable phenomena that challenge our scientific paradigms. The more we learn, the more we realize how little we know. This sense of wonder and awe, whether driven by the hope of discovering aliens or simply by the fascination of the unknown, fuels the human desire to understand the universe. It keeps us looking up at the stars, asking the big questions and yearning for answers. Even if we never find definitive proof that we are not alone, the pursuit itself has value. It shapes the way we see the world and our place in it. It inspires innovation, encourages collaboration, and pushes the boundaries of science and technology. The search for extraterrestrial life, or for understanding anything that seems weird in the cosmos, is not just about finding aliens. It's about expanding the limits of human knowledge, discovering new frontiers, and, perhaps most importantly, reminding ourselves of how much more there is to learn about the universe. In the meantime, as the search continues, we are left to grapple with the possibilities. Could the radio signal from Neptune be the first real communication from an alien civilization? Could it be a result of human error, a false alarm? Or could it be something else entirely? Something we haven't even begun to comprehend? The uncertainty remains, but one thing is certain. The quest to answer these questions will continue, and it will continue to inspire us. For as long as there are mysteries in the universe, there will be those who seek to unravel them, driven by the hope that one day, we might find the answers we've been waiting for. Until then, the growing pile of weirdness will continue to grow, and we'll continue to watch, learn, and wonder what's out there, just beyond the stars. As we stand on the precipice of discovery, the journey to unravel the mysteries of space has only just begun. The signal from Neptune, with its tantalizing potential, is but one of many strange phenomena that beckon us to explore the vast unknown. The questions it raises are profound, and the possibilities, though uncertain, are boundless. Whether it is a message from extraterrestrials or simply a natural anomaly, the fact remains that humanity is on the verge of a new era in science, one that will redefine our understanding of the cosmos and our place within it. But here's the thing. The search for answers doesn't stop with a single discovery. This is a long-term mission, one that requires continuous curiosity, dedication, and, most importantly, collaboration. As a global community, we must invest in further research, exploration, and innovation to unlock the secrets of the universe. The truth is out there, and it's waiting for us to find it. But we can only do this together. So, what's next? For those of you who are as captivated by the idea of alien life as we are, the journey doesn't end with this video. It's only the beginning. There's a whole universe of mysteries to explore, and countless more signals, anomalies, and unexplained phenomena just waiting to be discovered. The questions we ask today will shape the science of tomorrow. This is why it's so important that we continue to foster curiosity, push the boundaries of our knowledge, and support the scientific community as they endeavor to answer the great unknowns. If this video has sparked your curiosity and you want to stay updated on the latest in space exploration, alien encounters, and mysterious cosmic events, be sure to subscribe to our channel. By subscribing, you'll be joining a community of like-minded individuals who are just as fascinated by these mysteries as you are. Together, we can explore the wonders of the universe and stay informed on the latest developments in the field. Every new discovery, every new breakthrough, brings us one step closer to answering the biggest questions of all. Are we truly alone? But don't just stop there. Share this video with your friends, family, or anyone who might be interested in the mysteries of space. The more people who are engaged in these discussions, the more we can raise awareness and encourage others to take part in the conversation. Imagine what we could achieve if everyone with an interest in science came together to support the search for alien life. The collective power of a curious, engaged community can drive real progress. And that's what we need now more than ever. Join the conversation in the comments below. What do you think about the mysterious radio signal from Neptune? Is it evidence of extraterrestrial life, or just a coincidence of cosmic noise? Do you believe there are other civilizations out there waiting to be discovered? Or are we truly alone in the universe? We want to hear your thoughts, ideas, and theories. Your perspective matters, and your input could be the key to sparking the next great scientific breakthrough. Science is built on collaboration and open-mindedness. So don't hesitate to share your ideas and discuss them with others who are just as passionate about space exploration as you are. Finally, stay curious. The universe is vast and full of wonders, and we have only just begun to scratch the surface. The questions we ask today may lead us to answers that change everything we know about reality, life, and our place in the cosmos. Together, we have the potential to change the course of human history and make discoveries that will resonate for generations to come. So, keep asking questions, keep exploring, and above all, keep believing that the truth is out there waiting to be uncovered. Thank you for being a part of this journey. Let's continue to watch, question, and discover. The universe is calling. Are you ready to listen?